tá a bá mọ̀ yín tọ̀ ń bá bí ìgbé ayé Jóòbù jẹ́ ìgbé ayé làálàá, ìgbé ayé rẹ̀ jẹ́ ìgbé ayé ìṣubú, ẹni tó ti dókè tó wá di ẹni tí ò ní nǹkan kan, ẹni tó ti ráàánú gbà rí tó ẹni tí ò ráàánú gbà mọ́, ẹni tó ń fún yàn tó wá di ẹni tí wọ́n ń fún. Ìgbé ayé Jóòbù jẹ́ ìgbé ayé tó le. Mo fẹ́ ṣàkíyèsí pé bọ́lọ́run bá ràn yàn lọ́wọ́, ìgbé ayé Jóòbù gbẹ̀yàn bá la ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ rẹ̀ kọjá, ẹnìyẹn lè para rẹ̀, torí gbogbo ibi tó ti gbé ọkọ̀ dé, gbogbo ìlúmọ̀ tó rìn. Ohun tó sì fa nǹkan yìí Jóòbù gan ò mọ̀, Jóòbù ò mọ̀. Tó bá kúkú mọ̀ ni yóò ti gbàdúrà sí Ọlọ́run pé kó bóun bá èṣù wí, àbí kí Jóòbù fúnra rẹ̀ gbàdúrà kó sì kó ìjà sí èṣù. Ṣùgbọ́n Jóòbù bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí sọ̀rọ̀ oríṣiríṣi, ó sọ̀rọ̀ oríṣiríṣi, ó fi ọjọ́ ìbí rẹ̀ bú, ó rántí ìgbà tí òun bẹ ní Ṣàngó Òde, tí òun ó dé ẹnu ọ̀nà táwọn àgbàlagbà tó wọ́n máa dìde nígbà tí òró ń ṣàn lórí rẹ̀. Ìrírí Jóòbù le. Èmi ò mọ èyí tí wọn náà ń là kọjá lónìí, èmi ò mọ ohun tí làkọjá rẹ jẹ́, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo mọ àwọn ìròyìn tí ń banú jẹ́ tí wọ́n ti rán sí ọ. Èmi ìgbóyè o ti gbọ́, èmi ìgbóyè okùn ara ń fọ́ pọ̀ ń bọ̀. Mo fẹ́ gbà náà láàárọ̀ yìí, mo fẹ́ gbà ọ́ nímọ̀ràn. Wo tí o bá fẹ́ kí Ọlọ́run ó dá sí ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ, má fi Ọlọ́run lẹ̀ o. Gbogbo nǹkan lè yí padà, ṣùgbọ́n Ọlọ́run lè yí padà. Gbogbo nǹkan lè kọlura wọn, ṣùgbọ́n Ọlọ́run lè kọlura rẹ o. Ohun tó bá sọ ló máa ṣe o. Mo sì fẹ́ kó o ṣàkíyèsí pé Ọlọ́run ju gbogbo ìlàkọjá rẹ lọ. Àwọn tí ń ṣe ọ́, àwọn tí wọ́n ń dìde ogun sí ọ, wọn ò tọ́lọ́run o. Má jẹ́ kéèyàn sọ ọ́ dẹni ẹ̀sìn. Ohun kan tó o gbọ́dọ̀ gbàgbé ni pé má fi Ọlọ́run sílẹ̀ o. Òun ní ọ̀nà àbáyọ kúrò nínú ìlàkọjá rẹ yẹn. Ìwé Jóòbù orí 14 ẹsẹ̀ 2 náà mo fẹ́ kà. Bílí pé nítorí pé ìrètí wà fún igi bí a bá gé e lulẹ̀ pé yóò sì tún sọ, àti pé ẹ̀ka rẹ̀ títún kì yóò dá. Ẹsẹ̀ ìbílẹ̀ yìí ó máa ń gbà mí níyànjú ní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tí n bá ní ìlàkọjá. Ìrètí ń bẹ fún igi tá a gé lulẹ̀. Ohunkóhun ló lè gé igi lulẹ̀ o, ṣùgbọ́n fi ọ̀rọ̀ igi lẹ̀, ohunkóhun ló lè gé ayé ènìyàn lulẹ̀. Ìwọ tí ayé rẹ ti méso wá, ìwọ tí ayé rẹ ti dàbí pé àwọn èèyàn ti ń ba sábẹ́ rẹ, tí wọ́n ń fún ìbòjì nípa oore ọ̀fẹ́ tá a fi fún ọ. Ìwọ tí igi ayé rẹ tó ti fẹ̀ tó bẹ́ẹ̀ gẹ́, tó di pé ibikíbi tó bá lọ, gbọ́n tó bá pàdé, wọ́n máa ń rántí pé àwọn pàdé rẹ̀, wọ́n sì máa ń pẹ́ fún ohun táyé rẹ ti dà. Ṣùgbọ́n ní àárọ̀ kan, ní ọ̀sán kan, nǹkan kan ṣẹlẹ̀, a sì gé igi náà lulẹ̀. Ohun tó yẹ kó máa ṣaláàbò fún ọ, ó wá di pé òòrùn wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní pa ọ́ tó bá ti mú un kúrò. Àwọn ohun tó ń fún ọ ní ìsinmi tó ń fi ọlọ́kàn balẹ̀, ó wá di pé ò rí wọn mọ́. Ǹjẹ́ o ṣàkíyèsí pé gbogbo àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ Jóòbù kọ́, àwọn tí wọn ò kọ́ wọn ò gbàdúrà fún, wọ́n fẹ́ kí Jóòbù sọ pé òun dẹ́ṣẹ̀. Ǹjẹ́ o rí pé fún aya rẹ̀ gan, ìyàwó rẹ̀, aya tó fẹ́ sílé tí wọ́n jọ jẹun, tí wọ́n jọ mu, tí wọ́n jọ bí ọmọ, ó ní kí Jóòbù ṣe Olúwa kó sì kú, ó ní kó fi Olúwa rẹ̀ kó má san. Bóyá àwọn tó sún wọn ti yọ̀ǹda rẹ̀, bóyá àwọn tó mú ọ̀rọ̀ rí, àwọn tó gbé dìde, àbóṣó ti gbọ́ rí pé àwọn tó gbé dìde wọ́n di pàpà lòdì sí ọ, wọ́n lé ọ kúrò láyé rẹ̀. Èèyàn ni wọ́n, má jẹ́ kẹ́nikẹ́ni ó mú ọ ṣe Ọlọ́run. Bíbélì pé nítorí tí a bá gé igi lulẹ̀, tí igi tá a gé, igi tó ń méso wá, igi tó ń mú ìbùkún wá, ó ní nítorí pé ìrètí wà fún igi. Ìrètí ń bẹ fún igi o, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ìrètí ń bẹ fún igi tá a gé lulẹ̀ o, ìrètí ń bẹ o. ara mi gbọ́ mi, ohun tó ló fẹ́ ṣe yẹn bó o bá ṣe ẹ̀mí rẹ máa pin, ẹ̀mí rẹ ó pin. Ọ̀rọ̀ Olúwa sí ọ ní pé ìrètí ń bẹ fún ọ. Jóòbù lè má ní nǹkan kan ṣùgbọ́n nínú ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ ìgbàgbọ́ ń jáde ń bẹ̀. Mo sì fẹ́ rọ̀ ọ́ lónìí, mo fánù pé ló fẹ́ kí n gbà ọ́ nímọ̀ràn. Ìrètí ń bẹ fún ọ. Ohun tá a gbà lọ́wọ́ rẹ ìrètí ń bẹ fún ọ. Àìmọye ṣùgbọ́n lọ́hùn ni tí wọ́n gbà nǹkan lọ́wọ́ ènìyàn. Mo gbọ́ tàn arákùnrin kan tó ń yálégbé nílùú kan. Ó ti pẹ́ nínú ilé yẹn, yàrá kan náà lọ sí gbófi wọbẹ̀. Ẹni tó nílé á máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí á máa finá mọ́, á máa sọ̀rọ̀ sí. Arágbọ́ mi yóò mọ̀ pé ayálégbé wádìí láńlọ́ọ̀dù. Ó ra ilé yẹn, ó tún kó sì ń gbé nínú rẹ̀. Ìrètí ń bẹ fún ọ. Èmi ò mọ ohun tó lù ọ́ tó sọdẹ nílẹ̀ o. Èmi ò mọ ohun tó gba ọ̀rẹ́ lọ́wọ́ tó fún ọ lánàá, ṣùgbọ́n gbọ́ mi, Bíbélì pé ìrètí ń bẹ fún ọ. Má sọ ìrètí nù. Bọ́jọ́ òní bá tilẹ̀ korò, mo mọ̀ pé ọ̀la mi á dára. Di Ọlọ́run mú, di àṣẹ rẹ̀ mú, di ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ mú. Gbàdúrà sí bẹ́ẹ̀, ilé rẹ̀ sì máa yè. Bẹ́ẹ̀ iṣẹ́ rẹ̀ sì máa yè. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ògo ayé rẹ̀ sì máa tàn. Ó ní ìrètí ń bẹ, ìrètí wà fún igi. Bí a bá gé e lulẹ̀, ẹsẹ̀ ilé kan bí ọ̀tá ẹ̀ máa yọ̀ mí. Tí mo bá ṣubú mo máa dìde, ìwọ náà máa dìde o. Má jẹ́ kẹ́nikẹ́ni ó fi òní rẹ sọ bọ́lá rẹ ó ṣe rí. Kò sẹ́ni tó ní agbára lóde ọ̀la rẹ. Ọ̀la rẹ dáa jò ní ìlọ. Ǹjẹ́ o mọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀? Bó o bá tí ì kú, ìrètí ń bẹ fún ọ, ó máa dìde. Mo ní ògo rẹ máa tàn. A máa wá ọ lórúkọ Jésù. Mo ní a máa wá ọ rí. Ìmọ́lẹ̀ máa wá ọ rí. Jẹ́ ń gbàdúrà kan fún ọ. Gbọ́ mi láàárọ̀ yìí. Ohun tí ayé rẹ ní tí àwọn kan ń fẹ́. Oore ọ̀fẹ́ tó o ní tí àwọn kan sì ń ṣàfẹ́rí rẹ̀, mo pa á láṣẹ ni. Lórúkọ Jésù àti ìwọ àti àwọn, lórúkọ Jésù ó yẹ lọ pàdé. Àní oore ọ̀fẹ́ tó ń bẹnu ayé rẹ̀ tí àwọn kan ń gbàdúrà fún mi bí Olúwa a fẹ́ oore ọ̀fẹ́ yìí níbo láti rí tí wọn sì tí ì rí, mo pa á láṣẹ ni. Lórúkọ Ọlọ́run àwọn ọmọ ogun láti òní lọ, lórúkọ Jésù ẹ lọ pàdé ara yín. Ògo onú rẹ máa fọ̀hún jáde. Ìrètí tó orí nínú olùkọ́ ó máa gbéra sọ. Ìbùkún ni fún ọ. Lọ́run ògo forúkọ yín o. Lọ́sẹ̀ yìí ó máa rí àánú gbà. Ògo ni forúkọ yín Ọlọ́run wa Jésù Kristi Olúwa wa. Àmín.
Ọba ni Jésù. Ọba ni.
A nígbàgbọ́ pé Ọlọ́run ti bùkún yín nínú ètò pàtàkì yìí nítorí níbi tí ọ̀rọ̀ ọba bá gbé wà agbára ń bẹ níbẹ̀. Ẹ tún darapọ̀ mọ́ wa láti gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ọba láti ẹnu àlùfáà Ṣọlá Ṣàngólẹ̀ ní àkókò yìí kan náà ní ọjọ́ mẹ́jọ. Fún ìbéèrè, ìmọ̀ràn tàbí ẹ̀bẹ̀ àdúrà, ẹ pè àlùfáà Ṣọlá Ṣàngólẹ̀ sórí 0805 634 1443 0805 634-1443 tàbí kí ẹ jọ́sìn pẹ̀lú wa ní Amen Baptist Church ìsàlẹ̀ àpáta Ìdí-Òsè Ìbàdàn Ìlọrin Expressway Ìbàdàn. Àlàáfíà fún yín lórúkọ Jésù.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
It's 7 o'clock. This is the network service of Radio Nigeria. Good morning and thank you for joining us on the news. My name is Rachel Bola. The headlines. Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau investigates crash landing of training aircraft at Ilorin Airport. Correspondent examines implication of religious consideration in politics.
Whoever is leading, it doesn't matter, either being a Muslim or Christian, we should always work together as one family to make Nigeria great.
National Agency for Great Green Wall plants 5 million date trees in the north.
Tree planting need to be proactive to fight the encroachment of the Sahara Desert into our farmlands, into our homes, and to make our environment better.
China collaborates with Nigeria to boost tea production. The commentary is on coping with the stress of parenting. You can follow us on Instagram and X at Radio Nigeria HQ and on Facebook /Radio Nigeria Network. Now the news in detail. The Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau has launched an on-site investigation into the crash landing of a diamond training aircraft at the Ilorin airport. In a statement, the Bureau says the incident occurred during a simulated instrument approach on runway 05 at General Tunde Diagbon International Airport. According to the statement, the Director General of the Bureau, Captain Alex Berdi Jr., who visited the site of the crash, confirms that the aircraft's data card has been recovered for analysis. It also confirms that the two occupants of the aircraft are conscious, stable, and receiving medical care. The statement adds that 4 specialists will remain on site to complete critical assessment before returning to Abuja. The statement assured that the nation's airspace remains safe and that updates will be provided as the investigation progresses. A preliminary report is expected within 30 days. While the Kwara State government has expressed relief following the non-casualty emergency landing of the training aircraft at the International Aviation College in Ilorin. In a statement, the State Commissioner for Tertiary Education, Hajiya Sa'adatu Modibokaro, says the training aircraft was forced to make an emergency landing, resulting in a non-fatal accident to the pilot and instructor. According to the statement, both individuals were promptly taken to the hospital in Ilorin, where they were receiving medical attention. Hajiya Sa'adatu commended the swift and professional response of the college authorities and medical personnel, emphasizing the importance of emergency preparedness and strict adherence to safety protocols in aviation training institutions. The commissioner said the state government remained committed to the safety and well-being of students and will continue to support initiatives aimed at improving safety standards across all sectors. Governor David Lawal of Zamfara State has settled outstanding debts owed to major examination bodies by previous administrations. In a statement, the governor's spokesperson, Suleiman Idris, says the successive governments in Zamfara State failed to pay the National Examination Council NACO from 2014 to 2018 and the West African Examination Council WAEC from 2018 to 2022. Mr. Idris said the payment of the debts had prompted WAEC and NACO to release all previously withheld results from 2018 to 2022. The spokesman explained that the move was part of Governor Law's broader strategy to revamp the state education sector following his declaration of a state of emergency on education. He noted that the non-payment of the examination fees by past administrations had severely affected public schools in Zamfara, contributing to the state's poor ranking on national education indices. As part of activities to mark the 69th anniversary of the Nigerian Navy, a special Jumat prayer was held at the Navy Town Central Mosque, Asokoro District, Abuja. The Chief of Naval Staff, CNS, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, reaffirmed the Navy's unwavering commitment to national unity, discipline, and maritime security. Represented by the Chief of Policy and Plans, Navy Rear Admiral Ibrahim Diu, the CNS expressed gratitude to Almighty Allah for the gift of life and the opportunity to commemorate another year of dedicated service. Reflecting on the strength of Nigeria's diversity, the Chief of Naval Staff cited the Quran, Surah Al-Hujurat 49 verse 13, reminding the congregation that surely the most honorable of individual in the sight of Allah is the most careful of his duty to him. He explained that the nation's strength lies in the unity despite the different backgrounds, adding that the Navy's motto, "Onward Together," encapsulates the collaborative spirit essential for safeguarding the nation's maritime domain. The Director, Islamic Affairs and Imam of the Central Mosque, Navy Town, Asokoro, Navy Captain Rabi Uruma, thanked the Almighty Allah for His grace, stressing that the Navy celebrates its anniversary. Personnel should imbibe the virtue of truthfulness and honesty as they conduct their daily affairs. The Chairman of the Authority of ECOWAS, Heads of States and Government, His Excellency President Bola Tinubu, GCFR, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, on behalf of the people of Nigeria and the entire economic community of West African states, ECOWAS, welcomes heads of states and governments, ministries, diplomats, cultural icons and friends to Lagos, Nigeria, as ECOWAS celebrates 50 years anniversary. Lagos, Nigeria is symbolic to this epic and historic journey as the cradle of ECOWAS. Come, let's celebrate 50 years of impact, 50 years of unity, 50 years of regional integration, 50 years of building bridges of peace and prosperity across West Africa. Join us as we reflect on our past and shape the future of our region. Theme, Echoes at 50, Deepening Regional Integration for Peace and Prosperity. Date, Wednesday, May 28, 2025. Venue, Echo Hotels, Conference Hall, Victoria Island, Lagos. Time, 12 o'clock. Other events, 1. Reenactment ceremony by the heads of state and government. Time, 11 a.m. 2. High-level roundtable discussion on theme featuring experts from the region. Time 3 p.m. Venue, Nigeria Institute of International Affairs, Lagos. Echoes at 50. Stronger together for a better future.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Every day, children across the globe suffer abuses of their human rights, which violates the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Children.
For children living on the streets, it is almost impossible obtaining these rights. Rights like getting access to clean water, nutrition, basic social amenities, physical and psychological protection remains a dream.
How have we fared as far as the welfare of our children is concerned?
Join us every Sunday at 12:30 p.m. on the network service of Radio Nigeria as we beam our light on Street Children. Street Children, giving voice to the voiceless
and hope to the hopeless.
Remember, every Sunday at 12:30 p.m. on the network service of Radio Nigeria.
Don't miss it.
The Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, announces the 26th quarterly meeting of UBEC management with the Executive Chairman of State Universal Basic Education Boards across the 36 states and the FCT with the theme, Unaccessed and Unutilized UBE Matching Grant by the States. Nigerian child at the receiving end. Are we doing enough? Date, 25th to 26th May 2025. Venue, New Banquet Hall, Government House, Makurdi, Benin State. Time 2 p.m. Announcer, Aisha Garba, Executive Secretary, UBEC.
The battle for the Nigeria Premier Football League title has ended as the coveted silverware has been lost and won. The battle against the drop has however not ended as two more clubs will be drowning in the relegation waters after the match day 38 fixtures are decided this Sunday. Radio Nigeria will be bringing live commentaries of the final day proceedings with particular attention on the duel between Ikorodu City of Lagos and the traveling Abia Warriors of Moniya. The Ochendo Babes are guaranteed a place on the continent, shall be eyeing a place in the Champions League when they visit the Oga Boys, who narrowly miss a chance to rub shoulders with the bigger boys in Africa. Will Ikorodu City beat Abia Warriors to end their debut season in the top flight on a high, or will Abia Warriors put a dent in the fairy tale debut season that the Lagos side has enjoyed? Join Radio Nigeria from 3:30 p.m. this Sunday for live coverage of the match at the Onikon Stadium in the ever-busy city of Lagos for the season-ending clash between Oga Boys and Ochendo Babes. FRCN Sports, connecting through sports, uniting the nation.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Thank you for staying tuned. The 2023 presidential election saw the victory of a Muslim presidential ticket under President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima. While some argue that religious divisions have deepened, others claim that governance rather than religion has taken the center stage. In this special commemorative vote, Muja Kucha examines the religious-based ticket and good governance.
The 2023 election was marked by intense debate over the ruling All Progressives Congress, fielding two Muslim candidates, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, a Yoruba Muslim from the south, and Kashim Shettima, a Kanuri Muslim from the north. The arrangement, dubbed Muslim ticket, broke Nigeria's long-standing tradition of balancing presidential tickets along religious lines, sparking concerns among Christians and even other non-Muslims. The first time a Muslim ticket emerged in Nigeria's presidential election was in 1993 when Chief Moshood Abiola ran with Alhaji Babagana Kingibe, though accepted by a majority of Nigerians, unfortunately did not see the light of day as the election was annulled. 2 years down the line, some Nigerians are wondering if the much criticized Muslim ticket has struck any particular chord, either negatively or positively. Associate pastor at the Evangelical Church Winning All, Ekwa Central Area, Abuja, Adamu Bidaba, admitted that many Christians initially feared the ticket would lead to exclusion, bearing in mind the secularity of the country.
At a point, I wasn't comfortable because I think that was not a very good idea. But to the glory of God, from what I've seen so far, I think we've been stable, except the general insecurity issues.
Despite initial apprehensions, some argue that religious tensions have not escalated as feared. Political analyst Usman Biliaminu noted that the election results reflected a shift in voter behavior, with many northern Muslims supporting Tinubu over fellow northerner Atiku Abubakar, a Muslim from the opposition People's Democratic Party.
The 2023 general election was an eye-opener to many political pundits and most of the electorate in Nigeria, because Nigeria has never experienced such relationship across the divide. There's no religion in politics again. It has been demystified, and Nigeria has looked at what you can offer. Some Christian clergy encourage a lot of the Christians to vote for Tinubu.
Biliaminu, however, argued that economic hardship has overshadowed religious concerns, as Nigerians are rather concerned about their survival and not the faith of the leader. However, Chief Imam of Ansaruddin Abuja branch and head of Department Islamic Studies, University of Abuja, Professor Musa Olaofe, explained that Nigerians have rather focused on the quality of governance and not the religion of the public office holder.
Whoever is leading, it doesn't matter, either being a Muslim or Christian, we should always work together as one family to make Nigeria great. What we are just after is that we should tolerate one another.
2 years after the Muslim ticket controversy that ushered in the Tinubu administration, many Nigerians remain at crossroads. While some see progress in the shifting voter attitude, others warn that unchecked violence and discrimination threaten national cohesion. As the 2027 elections approach, the challenge will be ensuring that faith unites rather than divides, a task requiring commitment from both leaders and citizens alike. Muja Kucha, Radio, Nigeria.
The son of Sokoto and President, Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Alhaji Saad Abubakar III, has warned against religious bigotry and sowing seeds of discord among religious circles. He gave the warning at the inauguration of Darul Center for Islamic Studies at Millennium City, Kaduna, donated by the Director General, Department of State Security Services, Mr. Oluwatosin Adeola Ajayi, for orphans and indigent children. The Sultan emphasized that Nigeria is capable of surmounting challenges with unity of purpose and proper religious teachings to the younger generation.
We believe in our country, we believe in our ability to surmount all problems. Let's use religion and our diversity to make this country a much better and stronger place.
The Emir of Zazzau, Dr. Ahmed Bomali, said the center remained a lasting legacy that will instill religious discipline and tolerance. The Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Aidu, and that of Budget and National Planning, Mr. Atiku Bagudu, maintained that the center was assist in the realization of President Tinubu's vision for the country and emphasized the need for Nigerians to cultivate the habit of providing skills and education for the young ones to inspire them for a better future. The Deputy Governor of the state, Dr. Hadiza Salbu Balarabe, stated that the center was established at a time when Kaduna State was reinvigorating the educational sector and addressing food insecurity and poverty. A coalition of civil society organizations has called for the unconditional release of a Sokoto-based social critic, Ms. Hamdia Sharif, from police custody. The CSOs, led by the Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, Awal Rafsanjani, made the call in Abuja. Rafsanjani said the CSOs were concerned about the continued detention of Sharif, whom he described as a young Nigerian teenager, social commentator and advocate for improved governance and citizens' welfare in Sokoto State, who had tried to draw the attention of the state government to the security situation in her community, resulting in bandit attacks, killings and displacements.
We understand members with great concern and deep anger over the continuing persecution and unlawful treatment of Ms. Hamdia Sharif, who has been a consistent advocate for improved governance and citizen welfare in Sokoto State. This becomes the reason for her persecution, intimidation, and threat to life.
On his part, Director of Amnesty International Nigeria, Mr. Issa Sanusi, called for the intervention of the Inspector General of Police in the matter. Also speaking, the country lead, West Africa Civil Society Institute, Amuludun 99.1, called for an independent investigation into the circumstances surrounding Sheriff's disappearance and played by the state government.
We cannot continue to have a system that punishes the vulnerable while shielding the powerful ones. We salute the courage and effort by many organizations and individuals, and particularly we urge all groups and individuals to intensify actions to protect this girl from the rapacious state element.
The Director, Center for Democracy and Development, Mr. Dauda Garuba, stressed the need for protection of the youth in the country, saying that the civic space should be open to everyone to make inputs. The Nasarawa State Ministry of Health has inaugurated 2 standard guidelines for the medical management of victims of violence and safe termination of pregnancy for legal indications. This is to address issues of sexual and reproductive health violence, female genital mutilation, and other harmful traditional practices. Correspondent Khalidika has details.
The 88-page standards and guidelines for the medical management of victims of violence are meant for all medical facilities to provide quality care and refer patients who are victims of violence such as rape when necessary. The objective of the guidelines on self-termination of pregnancy, on the other hand, is to, among other things, provide guidance on the legal indications for the safe termination of pregnancy in Nasarawa State. Presenting an overview of the standards and guidelines protocol, a consultant, Dr. Akande Tajuddin, said knowledge about the management of sexual assault is limited in most training institutions, hence the domestication of the national law to ensure effective remedies for victims and punishment of offenders to promote reproductive justice in the state.
Nobody will give evidence. It's only a judge that will give that diagnosis of him. You must better this information for a judge to be able to make that decision of you.
The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Gaza Gomna, represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Dr. John Damina, while inaugurating the 2 documents, reiterated the commitment of the state government to providing qualitative health care for the citizens in line with global best practices. He charged all the health sector stakeholders to abide by the standards for improved health outcomes.
It's good to abide by the guidelines because cases like the one of could escalate to the court arena where you will be placed as a medical practitioner to answer a lot of questions step by step on how you manage your patient.
The State Coordinator of Reproductive Health and Family Planning, Mrs. Salome Vincent Aya, appreciated all the stakeholders that contributed to the processes of domesticating the national documents, noting that it will assist in eliminating sexual health violence such as rape and female genital mutilation in the state. In Lafia, Carlo Idika, Radio Nigeria.
Still from Nasarawa State, the National Coordinator, Community Action for Resilience and Economic Stimulus, NG Cares, Mr. Karim Obaje, has called on the state governments to step intervention towards empowering more vulnerable people to reduce the rate of poverty across the country. Mr. Obaje made the call at the 3-day step-down training on grievance mechanism, manual, and gender-based violence in Lafia, the Nasarawa State capital. Correspondent Lahir Hassan reports.
The Nigeria Community Action for Resilience and Economic Stimulus, NGKS, has the core mandate of enhancing economic resilience in Nigeria, particularly for vulnerable communities, by providing livelihood support, food security, and grants to help poor and vulnerable household businesses, among others. To deliver on its mandate, Abdul Karim Obaji explained that the training was organized to train participants on how to understand, minimize, manage, and mitigate gender-based violence in the state.
We expect participants to be able to understand how to differentiate the various forms of gender-based violence, how to handle complaints that are forwarded to them through all the network that they have, how to resolve them, how to minimize grievances.
Describing Nasarawa State as one of the best states that commit huge resources to the implementation of NGK's program, Abdul Karim Obaji called on the state government to do more in reducing the rate of poverty among citizens of the state.
The cumulative result that Nasarawa State has produced is over $284 million. This means the state government has invested quite some money, but the reimbursement that has come to the state in terms of the work they are doing, and to encourage them to continue to do even more going forward to reach more poor people.
Nasarawa State Commissioner for Finance, Hajiya Moniya Abdullahi, explained that government will continue to inject substantial amount for the implementation of NGK's program to empower more vulnerable citizens.
Register our collective resolve towards ensuring that we're improving the livelihoods of individuals and households through this NGK's program.
One of the participants, Mr. Daniel Abaka, said the step-down training afforded him an opportunity to know how to address grievances and live peacefully with one another. In Lafia, Dahiru Hassan, Radio Nigeria.
The National Agency for the Great Green Wall has commenced the planting of 5 million exotic date palm trees across 11 states of the Sahel Belt of Nigeria to check desert encroachment. The Director General of the agency, Mr. Saleh Abubakar, stated this when he paid homage to the Emir of Daura, Alhaji Umar Farooq Umar in Katsina State. Mr. Abubakar said the planting of trees in this region was by making shelter belts along Nigeria's borders with Niger Republic, Chad and Cameroon.
We've come to Gaura to meet the emir and ask him to help us sensitize the people about tree planting. We need to be proactive so as to fight the encroachment of the Sahara Desert into our farmlands, into our homes, and to make our environment better.
The Director General appealed to the Emir of Daura and political elites in the state to avoid felling of trees. Instead, they plant more. Responding, the Emir of Daura, Alhaji Umar Farooq, said the Emirate Council had put in place necessary measures that would encourage tree planting among his subjects and penalties to be meted out on those who fell trees without genuine reasons. Federal government is using the latest scientific methods of data collection and technical analysis from ministries, departments and agencies towards achieving its nationally determined contributions NDC on climate change, which will be submitted to the United Nations before the end of this year. The Director General of the National Council on Climate Change, Dr. Nkiruka Maduke, stated this at a stakeholders consultation, engagement and data collation workshop organized by the United Nations Development Program in Abuja. Shimbambala reports.
Dr. Nkiruka Maduke, who is also the Special Presidential Envoy on Climate Change, mentioned that the NDCs are not only policy documents, but solutions-driven sustainability, resilience, and prosperity. She stated that accurate and timely data is the backbone to make evidence-based decisions, track progress, and ensure transparency and accountability in reporting the NDC. The Director General was represented by the Director, Research Policy and Program, Hajia Halima Bawabwari.
Accurate and timely data is therefore a key requirement that will enable us to make evidence-based decisions, track our progress, and ensure transparency and accountability in reporting. The ambition of the government is an economy-wide NDC which has a broadened scope that leaves no one behind.
United Nations Climate Change Envoy, Mr. Razak Ayamut, said there are ongoing interactions to ensure that all the information are gathered from the 36 states of the Federation towards meeting the NDCs.
We are interacting with all the states and even through associations with some local governments as well as the private sector and bilateral and international partners.
Participants, Mr. Olamide Martins from Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa, observed that there are impediments in data collection for NDC caused by absence of synergy between national and subnational corporations.
Even though we have a national climate change act that mandates entities that have more than 50 employees to voluntarily submit their data as regards emission, and I mean corporations are still not doing the needful.
What about government plans to ensure zero gas emissions by the year 2060?
If we want to achieve zero emission for any year that you might want to say, I think it has to review clearly in our policy document that would come from the people in the frontline communities. What measures are government putting in place? What visible measures are on ground? You can't say you want to get to net zero by 2015 and you are still opening new wells in 2025.
Nigeria submitted an intended national determined contribution in 2015, which was updated as NDC in 2021 in accordance with the Paris Agreement. A French version, which is the NDC 3.0, was expected last February but delayed and now will be submitted in the next few months. Participants at the workshop include civil society organizations, NGOs, youth organizations, people with disabilities, and other relevant stakeholders. Chindombala, Radio Nigeria.
It's 26 minutes past 7. You're listening to the network service of Radio Nigeria. In the headlines, Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau investigates crash landing of training aircraft at Ilorin Airport. Correspondent examines implication of religious consideration in politics. National Agency for the Great Green Wall plants 5 million date trees in the north. And still to come, China collaborates with Nigeria to boost production of tea. Plus, State House Diary, Cyberscope, newspaper headlines and weather report. Stay tuned.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
In a world of diverse cultures, religion, and belief, these differences should divide but bind. Bound together in love, we can complement each other's strength. Indeed, Nigeria is a blessed nation, and its diversity a blessing. For more on how to harness this blessing, join with the venue on Common Ground Matters every Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on the network service of Radio Nigeria as we further discuss how to foster and promote peace and unity. Common Ground Matters fosters and promotes peace and unity every Tuesday at 10 a.m. on Radio Nigeria Network. Join us.
The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, is driving a campaign to address metering gaps in the Nigerian electricity regulatory industry through various initiatives of the federal government. Tune into the program Electricity Town Hall on the network service of Radio Nigeria every Monday from 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. as officials of NERC discuss the metering initiatives, how you can get a meter, regulatory actions to promote customers without meters, replacing faulty meters, redress mechanisms, and unauthorized access to meters. Be informed and get a meter today. NERC, keeping the lights on.
In 1975, a bold vision was born. 15 nations, one dream. Peace, progress, and prosperity. From the bustling streets of Accra to the vibrant markets of Lome. From the shores of Praia in Cape Verde to the heart of Abuja. ECOWAS has stood for unity, integration, and the power of West Africa. Now, in 2025, we celebrate 50 years of building bridges, breaking barriers, and shaping a future together. This is more than a milestone. It's a movement. Join the celebration as we deepen regional integration for peace and prosperity. ECOWAS at 50. Stronger together for a brighter future.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
China is collaborating with Nigeria to add value to the nation's agricultural products, including tea, for agro-processing and cultural tourism. During the program to showcase different varieties of made in Chinese tea in Abuja, the Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Yu Dunhai, explained that both countries shared similar cultures and traditions. Diplomatic correspondent Sandra Odike reports that there were different kinds of music displays by the Chinese.
The event tagged Tea for Harmony, Yaji Cultural Salon, is part of China's initiative to promote cultural exchange. The Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Yu Dunhuang, explained that such cultural exchange creates opportunity to interact and connect with the people of Nigeria.
We share very similar cultures, traditions. Chinese people love tea and the Nigerian people love tea.
The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Arts, Culture and Creative Economy, Dr. Muktag Yawale, explained that Nigeria was committed to fostering creative enterprises around tea and supporting tea festivals.
The industry is committed to promote local adaptations and exploring partnership that enhance Nigeria's participation in global tea economy.
The Permanent Secretary, FCT Social Development Secretariat, means Olubunmi Olowokere, described tea as a symbol of peace and patience. The Chairman, House Committee on Culture and Creative Economy, Mr. Gabriel Saleh Rock, said the event was an eye-opener as the legislature would ensure that policies that will promote Nigeria's culture were targeted at.
This is what we as Parliament are going to do in building policies that will promote our culture more to the rest of the world.
The Director General of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, Dr. Mohammed Bulama, represented by his special assistant, Alhaji Suleiman Musa, stressed the need for Nigeria to continue to celebrate its culture across the world.
They can showcase the New Yam Festival in the Southeast. They can showcase a lot of traditional Nigerian festivals like the Oshobo Festival. Let the world know that Nigeria is not about the negatives. We should have a Nigerian cultural calendar.
As students, Abochidema said, tea was a unifying lubricant that brings people together and a part of Chinese historical culture. In Abuja, Sandra Odike, Radio Nigeria.
The management of the Plateau State University, Bokos, has assured staff of its commitment towards creating an enabling environment for learning and research. The Vice-Chancellor of the University, Professor Shadrach Bast, made the assertion in Jos at the maiden edition of the Conference of the University's Academics. Represented by the Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Administration, Associate Professor Kezia Ayuba, Professor Bast said the conference would promote interactions, bonding, and knowledge sharing among academics. Contributing coordinator of the program and director of research development of the university, Dr. Emmanuel Nadi, said the conference was born from a desire to unite academics across disciplines to jointly propose solutions to global challenges and research works that will positively impact on society. The event, expected to serve as an incubation hub for greater research outcomes, featured discussions on topical issues including insecurity, entrepreneurship, health and disease, climate change, the use of AI tools, waste management, and building collaboration in research, as well as gender, among several thematic areas. The Anglican Bishop of Agwata Diocese in Anambra State, the Right Reverend Samuel Ezorfo, has expressed worry over the prevalent politicization of headship of various educational institutions in the country. The Right Reverend Ezorfo expressed the concern at the second session of the 7th Synod of the Diocese of Holy Trinity Church, Ufuma, with the theme, God's Great Task for the Church 2, the Great Commission. Alfred Ajayi completes the story.
Addressing hundreds of Anglican faithful on the occasion, Bishop Ezekiel Kafo condemned the recent experiences around leadership in two federal institutions in Anambra State, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, and Federal Polytechnic, Oko, which he warned was capable of destroying the education system. The The bishop insisted that academic institutions should be centers of excellence where corrupt manipulations are not allowed to fetter.
In fairness to this administration, it is not their making. The headship of our universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, technical colleges, etc., being political in our appointments is one of the most dangerous things that seek to destroy our educational system.
He feared that when education system is destroyed, it will affect the entire fabrics of the society. The prelate appreciated the Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Alausa, for his prompt intervention and insistence on justice. He extolled President Bola Tinubu's administration for the downward review in the pump price of petroleum and the introduction of student loan targeted at cushioning effects of hardship and high cost of education. The bishop praised federal government for honoring former chairman, National Electoral Commission (NEC), late Professor Humphrey Nwosu, calling for more tangible recognitions for him.
Professor Humphrey Nwosu stands out in the history of Nigerian election as the man who conducted the most credible and free election in Nigeria at the risk of his own life. May God give us more of such men of honor.
He also appreciated Governor Chukwuma Soludo for piloting the affairs of the state progressively with infrastructural development, restoration of security, as well as war against idol worship, wealth without work, among others. The bishop, however, urged the governor to sustain the temple, especially in the area of security, praying God to help him. In Oka, Alfred Ajayi, Radio Nigeria.
The need to inculcate mental health diagnosis and treatment into the existing primary healthcare system in the country has been emphasized. The head of the Department of Mental Health and consultant psychiatrist, Federal Teaching Hospital Lokoja, Dr. Daniel Ajobo, made the call in an interview with Radio Nigeria on the 2025 Mental Health Awareness Month celebration. Dr. Ajobo said access to mental health services remained limited, particularly in rural areas due to inadequate facilities and trained personnel. The medical director, who also raised concerns about misdiagnosis of mental health cases, advocated the deployment of more trained professionals to medical facilities across the country. He also urged members of the public to foster a positive and supportive environment as a preventive measure against the prevalence of mental health issues in the society. The theme of this year's Mental Health Awareness Month is Community, highlighting the importance of collective efforts in promoting mental well-being.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Many believe life as we know it has changed irrevocably, and that in this seismic shift lies an opportunity to turn things around, improve our country, and make life better for the majority. It is time to reboot Nigeria. Daria Media, with the support of the MacArthur Foundation, presents Pivotal. Join Nabila Usman as she discusses with policymakers, civil society, industry players, and individual Nigerians implementing unconventional ideas that have the power to change our country for the better. Catch Pivotal Mondays 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. the network service of Radio Nigeria. Your gateway to information on transformative education. TechFund Radio Link, the program that keeps you abreast on the activities of tertiary education trust fund. TechFund comes up every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Discover how TechFund is revolutionizing research, infrastructure, and academic excellence in Nigeria's tertiary institutions. Get insights into TechFund innovative initiatives, success stories, and impact on Nigeria's education sector. Don't miss expert discussions, interviews, and updates on TechFund's interventions, including research funding, infrastructure development, and academic staff training. Join the conversation, ask questions, and get informed. Tune in every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. for TechFund Radio Link, only on Radio Nigeria. TechFund Radio Link, empowering education, enhancing Nigeria's future.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
May 25th every year is set aside by the United Nations as World Football Day. The day recognizes the global impact of football and its positive influence on commerce, peace, and diplomacy. In this special report, correspondent Ive Gulu examines the place of football as a unifier among Nigerians.
Football, otherwise referred to as the round letter game, has evolved through the years as a preferred sport, attracting millions of people. Football in Nigeria has gone beyond just a game to becoming a symbol of unity and pride. When the country's teams are engaged in an international encounter, one could feel the passion, sense of pride, and unity it brings throughout the country. A loud shout reverberates across different locations, indicating nationwide jubilation, especially during World Cup victories. Oh yeah! He done it! Football has gone beyond sports to serving as a means of livelihood for many. In most communities, viewing and betting centers exist where individuals pay money to watch matches on big screens or place bets to win money. Football has been known to generate heated debate as supporters of mostly foreign teams engage in braggadocio. I witnessed a bragging session following Nigeria's defeat of Burkina Faso in the 2013 AFCON.
My father is from Nigeria, my mother is from Burkina Faso. So my father, there is for my mother. I am a Nigerian.
Some respondents who spoke on why they argue and brag about their favorite teams say it brings them joy.
When you're watching this football, you get so emotional just getting that bragging right. There's so much excitement in arguing. Like the argument also takes you away from your troubles.
I feel excitement. So I don't receive payment from that, but there's this joy that I get. It gives me peace, and I entertain myself. I have seen people fighting because of football, and nobody pleased them.
Sadly, however, such passion are hardly displayed for local teams. But how can football be leveraged upon to strengthen the fabrics of national unity and cohesion in a heterogeneous nation as Nigeria? Kanenhoro is the Plateau State Director of the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
If the people we follow have developed football to that level, what is wrong with us developing our own football to the level of loving it with the whole of our heart? We see how we love ourselves in a very beautiful and unique way, not knowing biases at that point. You see national unity in open display. If we leverage on the followership of football citizens, Nigeria can forge ahead.
This year's theme, Together We Are Stronger, reinforces the interconnectivity inherent in the game of football and reminds all of its power to unite. In Jos, Ive Gulu, Radio Nigeria.
Still on sports, defending champions Delta State continues its dominance in the medals table at the National Sports Festival in Ogun State. Plus 2024-2025 season of Nigeria Premier Football League season comes to a climax today as Rivers Angels set up clash with Nasarawa Amazons in the women's final of this year's President Federation Cup. Plus, Arsenal are champions of the European Women's Champions League after defeating Barcelona in the final. For these and more in our sports package, Alan Bodatoi takes it from here.
Team Delta's leading gold medalist in the men's swimming event at the ongoing 22nd National Sports Festival tagged Gateway Games Ogun 2024, Clinton Okute has vowed to win more medals in the event despite shattering 3 records set by him. The local government-born swimming sensation, who has won 6 gold medals and a silver medal so far in the games, stated that his aim was to help Delta State retain the title as National Sports Festival champions. Swimming event continues today after Saturday was observed as rest day. In another development, Team Delta's women's football team have advanced to the semi-finals of the event after beating Team Lagos 2-1 to sail through from Group B alongside the national under-17 team, the Flamingos, and will meet either host Team Ogun or Team Osun in the semi-final. In men's football, the invited junior team, the Golden Eaglets, will take on Ogun State in the semi-finals as Kwara State clash with Kaduna State. In athletics, host Ogun State won gold in the 4x400 meters mixed relay race, winning the event ahead of Edo State in second and Lagos State in third. In the meantime, the quest for table tennis glory began on Saturday at the Alake Sports Complex in Abeokuta. Notably, foreign-based stars such as Olajide Omotayo, Aziz Sholanke, and Taiwo Matthew are representing Bayelsa State, bringing international flair and experience to the competition. Lagos State enters the fray with the national champion Matthew Kuti and Muiz Adegoke leading the charge, while other strong contenders from Kwara, Ondo, Oyo, and Delta states are poised to make their mark. Table tennis event is expected to end on May 28th at the Alake Sports Complex, Abeokuta. In squash, the country's highest-ranked women's player Rafiat Abdulaziz and her Kwara teammate Blessing Isaac completed a 1-2 finish in the women's singles event. Abdulaziz outclassed Isaac in the all-Kwara final, defeating her 11-6 in the first set and 11-7 in the second set before the latter crashed out in the third set to eventually hand the former the ultimate prize. In the men's final, four-time Nigerian champion Adegoke Onao Penipo, representing Lagos State, beat top seed Gabriel Olufumilayo of Edo State 3-1 in the final. Next is cricket, as Edo State emerged champions of the women's T20 cricket event, defeating Lagos State by 8 wickets in the final held in Abeokuta. The victory capped off an unbeaten run in the tournament for Edo, affirming their status as the preeminent force in women's cricket in the nation. As of the time of this report, Team Delta maintained a firm grip at the summit of the overall medals table with 44 gold, 19 silver and 40 bronze medals. They are trailed by neighbors Bayelsa State with 33 gold, 23 silver and 23 bronze medals. 2011 host Rivers State are in third place after claiming 26 gold, 21 silver and 26 bronze medals, with host Ogun in fourth after picking 25 gold, 16 silver and 26 bronze medals. Away from the sports festival, Rivers Angels will clash with Nasarawa Masons in the women's final of the 2025 President Federation Cup. Rivers Angels defeated Ibom Angels by a goal to nothing in the semi-finals, decided at the Enyimba Stadium Aba on Saturday, with Aminat Folorunsho's strike on 63 minutes, making the difference in the game. Nasarawa Masons FC spanked Edo Queen by 2 goals to nothing in the other last 4 contests in Enyimba. Kogi State with Hembafan and Odo getting the goals on 71 and 88 minutes. The men's final will see Dark Horses Abakaliki FC facing Kwara United. The dates and venue for the men and women's final will be announced later. Meanwhile, Arsenal on Saturday won the European Women's Champions League for the second time, beating Barcelona 1-0 in the final at the Jose Alvalade Stadium in Lisbon. Substitute Stina Blackstenius scored the game's only goal on 75 minutes. It's the final day of games in the 2024-2025 season of the Nigerian Premier Football League. With Remo Stars, who lead with 71 points, already crowned champions, the battle is for either Rivers United or Abia Warriors to clinch the second CAF Champions League slot. The Port Harcourt boys are second in the table with 61 points and need a victory against Nasarawa to secure the ticket, while the Umuahia-based side, who are third with 60 points, will also want to win at Ikorodu City and hope their neighbors slip to get it. The relegation dogfight is feverish. Heartland 17th with 45 points host Akwa United 18th with 44 points. El Kanemi Warriors, who are 16th with 46 points, clash with Sunshine Stars 19th with 41 points with no hope of surviving, as Katsina United 15th with 47 points welcome Kwara United. Other fixtures are mere academic, with Bayelsa United taking on Remo Stars. Coach Ladan Boso says he's satisfied with the performance of the Yenegua-based side this season and described their opponents as a formidable team.
God has just answered our prayers, because the worst was for us, at least, to play the last match at home with pressure, meaning that for today we are above position 10, and we all promise ourselves that we must finish the league with single digit, anything from 1 position to the 9th position. Playing against Remo Stars. Remo Stars, they have a good team. From my assessment from our away matches, was just the single club that I knew that we genuinely lost to. We are beaten on maybe about 87 minutes.
In other ties, Enyimba tackle Plateau United, bottom side Lobby Stars battle Bendel Insurance. Niger Tornadoes confront Kano Pillars, while Shooting Stars lock horns with Rangers. I am Alambo. That's him.
The commentary is on coping with the stress of parenting. It is written by Jeffrey Aomisi of our Ibadan zonal station.
The cry of a newborn baby brings unquantifiable joy to the family. The birth of the bundle of joy usually climaxed with the naming ceremony of the infant, which could be between 7 days to 6 months after the delivery, depending on the culture of the parents. After the merriment, the realization of the enormous task ahead in terms of welfare and care of the child begins to dawn on the parents, when families and friends who throng to the parents' residence to celebrate with them leave for their various homes. The challenges of raising up the child can be compounded when the parents are in financial difficulties. The Emotional stability and financial strength of the parents are further tested when they begin to contend with feeding, medicals, and other sundry issues associated with newborns. The pressures of raising child in today's fast-paced, often economically challenging world can be stressful for parents. Balancing work, family responsibilities, and personal needs often leaves little room for self-care, which deepens stress level. The level of stress parents go through raising up their children can be aptly captured in the song of legendary Cameroonian Nigerian musician, late Prince Nico Mbanga, titled Sweet Mother. The hugely talented artist in the lyrics of the song while reflecting his childhood side in pidgin English. If I no sleep, my mother no go sleep. If I chop, my mother no go chop. Parenting stress, also known as parental tension, relates to the pressures of executing parenting role. It is a mix of psychological and physiological state of a parent or caregiver. The effects of this can be aggravated if the child has a physical, developmental, emotional, or behavioral complex. Vivid description of this overwhelming situation is that some parents who work hard in a high-stress job still have to fight traffic in most cases to pick their kids from daycare or school before going home. Parental duty is Herculean. In fact, the media have reported some cases where some fathers had to resort to illegal dealings just to take care of their children when faced with financial challenges. And rather pathetically, some mothers had to engage in extramarital affairs or do other menial jobs to put food on the table of their family. These parental challenges can sometimes affect the mental and emotional state of the parents. Realistically, therefore, parenting is more than giving birth to babies, but also includes getting involved in child's emotional, academic, social, mental, and spiritual well-being. To avoid parenting stress, couples who are not emotionally and financially ready to bring a child into the world should consult family planning professionals for advice. Parents should endeavor to live within their income and set their own target and goals to avoid being constantly under pressure. In spite of these challenges parents go through while nurturing their child, they should take some time out to relax. It is essential for parents to incorporate some activities into their day, whether exercising, meditation, reading a book, playing cards, or watching TV. Furthermore, it is important to build a strong support network. This can include friends, families, or parenting groups who can offer advice, a listening ear, or practical help. Government at all levels should strengthen parenting-friendly policies that promote work-life balance, such as paid family leave, affordable childcare, or flexible work options. When society supports parents more effectively, the overall stress level within families can be significantly reduced, leading to healthier and happier environment for both parents and children.
That commentary on coping with stress of parenting was written by Jeffrey Aomisi and read by Ove Kuji. Next is Cyberscope, bringing you the top trends shaping conversations across Nigeria's social media space. We begin with the social media was lit up as football fans celebrated Arsenal's historic triumph in the UEFA Women's Champions League. The Gunners pulled off a shock 1-0 win against reigning champions Barcelona, earning their first title in 18 years. The match stirred emotions online, with fans flooding X, Instagram, and TikTok with praise for the team's resilience and comeback. Many hailed it a major win for women's football across Africa and Europe. And over to Spain, Kylian Mbappe was the man of the moment as he netted twice in Real Madrid's 2-0 win against Real Sociedad, clinching the European Golden Shoe. But the headlines were all about the emotional goodbyes. Legendary coach Carlo Ancelotti is headed to Brazil's national team, while Luka Modric played his final La Liga game at the Bernabeu. Madrid fans turned the stadium into a tribute ground with banners and chants online. Hashtag Gracias Ancelotti and hashtag Madrid legend trended as fans shared unforgettable memories of two football greats. And back home, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPCL Limited, has shut down the Port Harcourt Refining Company for scheduled maintenance. The news caught quickly cut fire on X and Instagram, while with many voicing frustration over the timing, especially amid ongoing fuel price hikes and energy instability, of course. Meanwhile, Peter Obi has made it official he's running for president again in 2027. In a 7-minute video shared via the Labour Party's WhatsApp group and later posted widely, Obi addressed Nigeria's youth, promising to stay committed to transformation and good governance. The video drew thousands of reactions, with loyal supporters praising his persistence, while others questioned his political strategy. Hashtags #Obi2027 and #Labour Rising are driving conversations across social platforms. And in Osun State, a suspected vandal was electrocuted, that's sad, while attempting to steal parts from a 500 kVA transformer in Ede. Facebook users are reacting with alarm and sadness, using the opportunity to call for stronger surveillance and harsher penalties for vandalism. That's a strong one. That's it for Cyberscope today. Keep the conversation going. Connect with us at Radio Nigeria using the hashtag Cyberscope. It was compiled by Daniel Adejo. Next is newspaper headlines. We begin with This Day, as it tells us Tinubu's reforms push customs revenue to 1.3 trillion naira in first quarter of 2025. Sultan urges Nigerians to de-emphasize religious ethnic differences. Tinubu appoints Ayim Namani, Shema Aremu, Shaibu, 17 others into federal parastatals. Details in This Day. The Guardian writes, NELFund disperses 56.85 billion naira, approves 550,000 student loans in first year. Federal government condemns video of students writing WAEC with torchlight at night. UTME, Zulum awards scholarship to female Borno indigents with 250 scores and above. Full reports in The Guardian. You can also find those stories in the Blueprint, The Vanguard, and The Sun. Well, that's all we can take on newspaper headlines as compiled by Patrick Alumona Jr. For weather report, in the northern region, sunny skies with patches of clouds are expected, with chances of morning thunderstorms over parts of Taraba State. Later in the afternoon and evening hours, isolated thunderstorms are expected over parts of Taraba, Kaduna, Borno, Yobe, Zamfara, Sokoto, and Adamawa states. Similar weather conditions are expected later in the day over parts of Nasarawa Plateau, Federal Capital Territory, Niger, Kwara, Benue, and Kogi states during the afternoon and evening hours. And to end the news, here is a recap of the major stories. The Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau has launched an investigation into the crash landing of a diamond training aircraft at the Ilorin Airport. In a statement, the Bureau says the incident occurred during a misstimulated instrument approach on runway 05 at General Tunde Diagbong International Airport. Our correspondent examined the implication of religious consideration in